So playback is very simple. You press space to play.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah, it's been crazy because I've been since I was 11.
So I'm going to press space again to pause. I can press the Q key on the keyboard to rewind a little bit. We're going to slow down the audio to something like 0.x, and I just pressed the number 2 key on the keyboard to slow it down, and we can even go down to 0.5x by pressing the 1 key. And then when I play this back, we can hear the redactions a little bit better.
Yeah, it's been crazy because I've been since I was 11.
Okay, let's bring that back to normal.
Yeah, it's been crazy because I've been since I was 11.
So red means this is redacted both from the text and audio, and to do this I can either use the arrow keys or use my mouse to highlight something, and then I press backspace, and when I play this back it should be redacted.
I've been since I was 11, and
Really?
I'm 23.
Anything that's in blue is an edit, so essentially you can highlight something or use the arrow keys and shift to select something, then you press the R key on the keyboard and it brings up a dialog box where you can edit the content. And what this does is it modifies the transcript, but it doesn't affect the playback. So if I double click here or press space,
23, and so it's just like basically every year it's just gotten crazier and crazier. And I used to make $1 a day back. Well,
and we could see the transcript has changed, but the audio is not redacted and the video is not redacted. So that's the basics of editing. Wordflo tries to transcribe as accurately as possible, so you're doing minimal edits, and a lot of the focus is on the user experience and the playback. Then there is the compliance component, being able to detect and redact sensitive data. So for example, I'm going to press O, and let's say we want to highlight any PII. Once this is selected here, we can press the down arrow key to go through all types of PII. In this case, there's things like duration, monetary amounts, age, occupation, and so on. For PHI, we have things like condition, it can detect drug names and other types of private health information as well. And you could quickly scroll through these using the arrow keys once this is selected. When you press escape, it goes back to normal. We can also highlight things like industry terms. In this case, it detected any tech and media terms, things like YouTube, microphone, computer. We can detect disfluencies, any stutter words like, and so on. Private and public companies. So in this case, there's YouTube, which is a private company. YouTube, another instance of YouTube. There's McDonald's, which is public. YouTube again, a lot of mentions of YouTube. And Mr. Beast, which is a company and it is private. Google, which is public. So you can quickly scroll through and see which public and private companies are mentioned. I'm going to turn this off for a second. I actually saw a few issues with the spelling of some of the proper nouns. And to replace those, we can press the F key on the keyboard and then hit this replace button right here. Search for, and I saw some instances of lowercase y for YouTube. So for this, we can quickly do a find and replace. And you can see it's marked here as a blue edit, which means it's not redacted from the audio, but the text is corrected. And we could do the same for Google. If there's any lowercase mentions, we can actually just highlight it directly here, press the R key. Let's close this out. Press the R key here and capitalize this, and that's it. Then once we go back here, we can turn this on again and scroll through all mentions of public and private companies. Besides this, we have many export options, for example, being able to export JSON, PDF, docx, SRT, VTT, the audio or video, and the redacted audio and video. So if you make lots of changes, you can toggle something like edits and include timestamps, and you'll see everything that you've changed in the export, or you can export the original as well. One last thing I'm going to go over is our API support. We have an open API where you can access all your transcripts. For example, here we have the job name of this transcript, and I'm going to just remove this option. I'm going to show what that looks like a little bit later. But when we run this, we're just going to give back a structured transcript with all the utterances and words and timestamps, as well as a speaker map. And just to quickly show you what was there right before I removed it, this was a parameter for returning VTT. When I have this as true, it's going to return a string that we can write to a file that creates a neat looking transcript. So let's see what that looks like. Example. Then if we print it out, we can see it's a structured transcript.